if the offense isn't good, but they still beat the Titans like 20-17, I'm not freaking out. It's week 1 of Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze and a rookie quarterback and Gerald Everett and 2 new linemen and a new running back. Like, I'm not freaking out, but just get the early wins. Go 500 in the first 4 games. If you start off 1-3 or 0-4 like last year, me and you were both going to say like we're still going to be excited for the year after, but that season is fucked because you can't just start 0-4 and like expect to go to the playoffs. Like,
can't shoot yourself in the foot again, dude. Matt Eberflus, it's gonna fall on him if that happens. Yeah. But what you just said made me so happy. It made me so happy because it's like I have nostalgia now. I had a flashback to Lovey being like 4 games at a time.
Yeah,
4
game chunks.
Like, yes, this
4
again.
games.
This is nice.
4 games. Yeah. 4 times 4 is 16. That's a 16 game season. You just got to win the quarters, and the football has 4 quarters
too. Dude, it's great, and I'm right there with you. We talked about a hot start, I think, being important. I think it is very important, but you're right. At minimum, like we need to stay 500 for a good chunk of the season. Like if we're 3-3 in week 6, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be 2-4. I don't want to be 1-5 though. Like,
so I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. We got our season.
Oh man, this is interesting because like I had a number in my head picked out, but I hadn't really looked at the season and figured out how I get to that number.
I don't have this ready off the top of my head, and maybe you can find it. I want to go through our last year's prediction episode because we did this on an episode.
Oh yeah, we did.
Where we broke it down. I think we said 8 wins last year, 8 or 9.
Yeah,
no,
we were
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
And I think we nailed it. So
yeah, we did.
So I mean, I can zoom in as well if you want to do this. But if you got a better prediction game graphic, okay. Tennessee week 1, I think Tennessee has just as many moving parts. They lost Mike Vrabel. I think they're kind of licking their wounds. I think they're going to be one of the worst 5 teams in football. I think that's our first win, so 1-0. And this is coming from a guy who said we start like 0-1 because it was Packers. So I'm not scared to predict 0-1.
Give me another minute. Talk about that game. How do we get there? What do you think?
Will Levis is not. I don't know. Will Levis is a 50-50 guy in my head. I do like Will Levis, but I don't think he's the best rookie or second-year quarterback out of like the options that we're going to be facing pretty soon. Their receiving core is a bunch of 2s and 3s playing the number 1 wide receiver role. I think their starting running back now is Tony Pollard. Washed up Tony Pollard right now. They have some young tackles, which that might help them. So they might have a couple of things going on offense. And then on defense, they got L'Jarius Sneed. So that's a good upgrade. They'll probably lock down 1 receiver. But other than that, that defense is just Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Sneed. Jeffrey Simmons might dominate a little bit, and he talked some mad shit already, if you remember that. But, oh, nice. Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons talked some shit. And I think on that note, it's going to be a little bit of a personal game, but I'm predicting the win. If I had to like give you a score, it's going to be like 26-20, 26-17 Bears.
Okay. Well, credit to the CHGO podcast for putting this nice little graphic together.
That's an awesome graphic.
Quickly snagged from Google. Yeah, it's a great graphic, and CHGO does awesome work. Everybody knows that. So yeah, hats off to them. I also think, I mean, man, I can't do a week 1 loss. I cannot.
I just don't think it's also realistic. I said 0-1 with last year Packers and everything. I don't.
And like you said, it's the quarterback that's not proven. It's a team with a new head coach. Like they don't necessarily have their stuff worked out either. This one's up for grabs. We're taking it. Like 1-0 to start the week, right? Yeah. So I'll just open up a little notepad here on the side so I could just keep track. And okay, what about week 2? Houston Texans.
I think we're both going to be on this one. I have Houston as one of my top 5 teams in the NFL. Even more so than offensively, I think CJ Stroud's going to have a little bit of a sophomore slump, I'll call it. Like I don't think he's going to just like elevate one of my favorite people I listen to, Ben Solak. He's like, progression is not linear. It never is for anyone. It's not just always a straight line, always up. It's like there's ups and downs and flats and plateaus. I think CJ Stroud's going to have a little bit of a flattened out season. I don't think it's going to be like, I'm not saying he's going to get worse, but don't expect him to go like from 22 touchdowns to like 38. He might go to like 27, 27, 28 or something. But I think this team is stupid good. Joe Mixon's good. The offensive line's good. I think they're going to have a top 5 defense more than anything. I think this defense is going to be terrifying. And I think this is where like the Texans being a year ahead shows. And I think they kind of kick our ass a little bit. I'm going to say it's like 35-17 Texans. I think we take a big L on this one.
Yeah. I'm not trying to just copycat you here. I actually think the same exact thing, though. It's like, that team their arrow is pointing up, right? So I think we're going to get smacked in the face a little bit. Do I think it's like a for sure loss? No, I think that could still be anybody's game in a way. However, I just don't feel good about it. I think the Texans wind up, taking that W there and continuing their arrow pointing up.
And I can already picture myself watching that game, like sitting there going like, this should be a loss, but if we're competitive, that's a positive. And if we win, it's even better. So I'm not like, and if we get our asses kicked, I don't freak out. I'm not going like, oh my God, this team sucks again. Like, no. This is one of those, like, if it happens, great. If not, that's okay too.
But then I do have them bouncing back against the Colts and getting a W there. I think the Colts are a very beatable team. I'm not saying we're going to sit there and walk all over them. However, last year, Anthony Richardson only made it a couple games, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's still a lot of unknown there. And I think that's a good opportunity for us to get back on our feet and come away with a W in that game. What do you think?
I personally also don't understand this Anthony Richardson Pro Bowl MVP hype. Like, if you believe in Anthony Richardson to be an MVP, then you better believe that Justin Fields is going to be an MVP candidate.
I mean, I guess that's
a whole
discussion, but yeah,
but those are like the same people who are like, Justin Fields sucks, but Anthony Richardson, wait for this guy. Like, you have no idea if Anthony Richardson's any good yet. Really, you don't.
Or if he's going to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, so far he's shown one thing. Like, one thing is that he's just hasn't been able to survive long, put himself in some bad situations. Everything else is unknown. So, yeah, that's why, like I said, that's why I think that's an opportunity to get a W. What do you think?
I'm with you. I think it's closer than we want to think. I also don't really think that the Colts are that good. For Shane Steichen's good. I like their coaching situation. But other than that, I mean, their defense is very mediocre. They've signed back most of their mediocre players. Kenny Moore, Grover Stewart. I mean, DeForest Buckner's still pretty good. But other than that, I can't really even tell you who the rest of their players are because they're not notable. I don't even know where Shaq Leonard is. I don't think he's even around anymore. That poor guy. And then on offense, Michael Pittman. I mean, that's it. Fred Taylor, or not Fred Taylor. I always think he's Fred Taylor.
Philadelphia Eagles for Shaq Leonard.
Yeah, I thought he got picked up. Who's their running back? I can't remember. He reminds me of Fred Taylor. That's why I always call him Fred Taylor.
The Eagles running back?
No. Colts.
Oh. Woodsock. Yeah. God. He's a good running back, too.
No. Do you remember Fred Taylor from the Jaguars and the Patriots? He reminds me so much of Fred Taylor. I always call him Fred Taylor in accident. But yeah, they've got some weapons, I guess. Pittman, some rookies, some young guys, but
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. So it's Fred Taylor and Jonathan Taylor. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna agree. It's a win. It's closer than we want to think, but yeah, I don't think we can start 0-3 or 1-2 against the AFC South. That's a shitty division.
So you started the first two. I'm gonna start, 3 and 4.
Yeah, go for it.
I still feel that the Rams, although they lost a lot of pieces, I think that that's going to hurt them as far as, trying to win a Super Bowl and trying to win the playoff games. Still think they're a damn competitive regular season team. Sean McVay is no joke. Matt Stafford early on will still be healthy. I think we're going to sit there and, like Lovie Smith says, win me 2 out of 4. I think this will be our loss, and we're going to be 2-2 going into week 4. So I'm going to give an L in week 4 against the Rams.
I feel super differently about the Rams. I think the Rams are getting a top 5 pick in the NFL draft this season. I think that's one of the worst defenses in football. I think it's going to be a shootout more than anything. I agree with you 100% on the offense because that's why I don't think – I think the Rams, just because the Rams are going to have like 35 points, I think this will be a shootout. And I think the Bears – this is going to be the offensive game in the first 4 games that makes people freak out. You know how, like, you know, if we watch the Texans whoop us and there's going to be the negative people like, oh, my God, this team sucks. This is going to be the game that people need to, like, tone it down because the Bears are going to score, like, 38, 40 points, and everyone's going to freak out about it. And we're going to be like, yeah, pump the brakes here a little bit. I think this is a win.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't think the Rams are that good this year.
Well, go ahead and take 5 and 6. Start
3-1.
3-1 for you.
I mean, this is just Carolina. I think Carolina probably gets the first overall pick. I think we're playing 3 teams that are probably in the top 5 of the NFL draft this season in those first 5 games. That's why I'm like super optimistic about the hot start. Carolina sucks. There's really not much else to say. I mean, it's Carolina. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but that's hard not to be because they were an absolute shit show. It'll be closer than we want to think, but I still think this is like a 32-18 game. I think we win. We start 4-1.
I also think Carolina's terrible. I think we're going to have a very high second round pick from them in this next draft as well. I'm with you, man. I don't have many good things to say about Carolina. If they do pull out a win, I mean, it's just going to be one of those any given Sunday type of games, but I just don't envision it happening. And so, David, just to put this out there, you got them winning 3 games in a row at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened in a while, right?
Not under Matt Eberflus.
Not under Matt Eberflus. So that would be a very, very, very exciting time to go into week 6 in London. What do you think happens there?
I think this is your loss. This is your nearby around that time loss to kind of. I think it's going to be a very exciting, like, early part of the season. You go into October getting super, super hyped, and oh my God, Super Bowl, Super Bears, and then the Jaguars kind of bring you back down to earth. I think the Jaguars are a super, like, 8-8 team every year, and then I think their spurts make them look like a 10-6 team, and I think we're going to play like a 10-6 Jaguars kind of team, and so I think it's going to be a Trevor Lawrence looks like a professional quarterback. Caleb Williams gets made look like a rookie a little bit. He can't just maintain it all the time, and I think this is where you get your second loss. So I got him at 4-2 through 6, losing to the Jaguars.
Interesting, because I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking you catch them at a bad spot with the whole London thing. The time difference. Like I said, I think that's really could be a toss-up game just because of that. I mean, they are. It's a completely different thing with jet lag and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jaguars are not all that good. I think they're really relying on Trevor Lawrence. And I think if he's not able to sit there and, keep the ship not only afloat, but like moving forward, that there's going to be some pretty crappy losses on their record that they're going to look at. And I just I don't see the season going too great for them. Even though, I don't know. I'm just not very high on Trevor Lawrence. And I look at that quarterback class too, and it's like all the other quarterbacks have already failed their initial role except for him, and now he got paid, and now it's like, I don't know. I just feel that there's a lot riding on them. So I actually have them winning the third game, winning the second game in a row here in week 6 on my record. But we got the same record right now, right?
Mm-hmm. 4-2.
4-2.
The other thing about London, and it's one of your home games, which sucks. We never even looked at this, by the way. We didn't really talk about it. You play the Titans at home, you play the Rams at home, and then you're playing Carolina at home. So those are like even more reason for me that they're a little bit more relevant. And then 2 road games with Indy and Houston. That's why Indy, I think, would be a little bit more of a risky game, but it's so close. It's a dome. It's like favorable for the Bears, if anything. The thing with London, I think this is Jacksonville's third year or fourth year in a row playing in London. They're kind of used to this as a franchise. So if there's any players there
Good
that
point.
have kind of done this, this is like they're like, yeah, we do this every year. It's kind of sucks. Let's just like take care of business, go home. Like the Bears, they might like there might be some like selfies at the London Tower, like Big Ben and like all that stuff. This is like a big deal for them, and it's the Bears knowing the McCaskies. They're going to send them there on like a coach flight or something like that with freaking like pretzels or something. So
Make them pay for their additional
their own
baggage.
hotel. Yeah, exactly. Like knowing
Right?
them, and the Bears are just going to be like, this fucking
You
sucks.
only
Let's
got to
get out of
carry
here.
on, guys.
Yeah,
We
guys,
went
come
over
on.
this.
Yeah, no family.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You make a good point there, David.
So
But
that's where I'm at.
I think we get a bye week. I think we
Yep.
reset, and this is where I have them winning the third game of the season in my prediction, because I think it's going to happen for Eberflus this year. I do, and so I think they come out. We've played well against Washington in the past, and I'm not very high on Jade Daniels either. So I think we come out and get a W against Washington right there in October, right before Halloween. We've played them in that same spot a couple times now. Like, I mean, I was even at the game, I believe 2 years ago, right around mid-October, right around Halloween against Washington here at home, where, Mooney came an inch short of the touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is kind of a familiar team to face in this spot for us, but I think we get the upper hand on them and come away with a W.
It's just something about Washington. The Bears just like kind of have their number. Everything that Washington is even good at, it never really works against the Bears for some reason. So I'm with you. I think that's a W as well on the road in October. I don't believe in Jaden Daniels. I don't even think he's going to be playing at that point. I think he's going to be hurt by then.
Wow. So, but then in week 9, I do have him losing to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are very underrated. I think they're a better team than a lot of people think they are.
Yeah.
Especially now, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. too, right? So I think there's weapons there for Kyler. I think Kyler does have a little bit of a bounce back season, and they're going to be a tougher opponent than most people think.
I agree. I think they're sneaky good. They're sneaky talented. Coaching is really, really good. They had no business even winning as many games as they did last year, and then they've gotten better too. So, yeah, I got you too. I got a L there as well. So
we'll go ahead start off
my next 2. Man, you're gonna make me do Green Bay. All right, 10. I think it's an easy victory. I think at this point, I think New England is almost on purpose tanking at this point. I think they're fire sailing. Every good player on their team is a young prospect. Christian Gonzalez, Drake May. I think that's all I can name. Christian Barmore, right? Like it's all young guys that won't make the make or break difference. And without Bill Belichick there, I can't consistently say that they are going to be a really well coached team and you're going to play a really well coached team. They might be, for all we know, but I don't think so. So I think that's a victory there. I think that puts me at 5 victories or 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That puts us at 6.
But I have an L here.
Okay.
And I kind of, one of the reasons is I'm biased. I've always liked New England as like my second team. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I just don't see why like a situation like what happened with Houston last year can't happen in New England. Yes, you have a new coach, but it's not a nobody. You know what I mean? It's a guy who's been waiting for this opportunity, preparing. I'm pretty high on Drake May. I think he does have some development that he needs to go through. I think he may be playing well at this point in the season, though. So just because I can't, I'm not going to sit here and predict like 13 wins.
Yeah.
I got to find these losses somewhere. And
mine are coming.
This is one of my losses. So go ahead.
Green Bay at home. Until Green Bay is defeated, I don't believe that we defeat them. So I got Green Bay at home coming in. Big brothering you, like 27-13, doing everything right. We're doing everything wrong, and it just looks and rips your heart out and stuff. This is the PTSD talking again, but I got the L.
I need to beat them.
All right.
We got to beat them. This is one of the things for me that's probably one of the most important parts of the season. Preach change all you want. I want to change. I want to beat them. I got a W. I'm not going any other way.
I can live with beating them next year. I can live with it.
I guess, sure. Maybe I'm not as patient as you are. I need this to happen. I'm not I got a W.
At least
yeah.
once, right?
Yeah. I really think we have to. It makes a damn statement.
I hate him.
Yeah, I do. I can't. I'm not going to do it. So you may
Yeah.
be the logical one in this, which usually pans out to be the correct choice. I'm going to be the super emotional one in this and just be stubborn and say, no, fuck Green Bay. We're taking the first win against them.
God,
Week 12.
I hope so.
Week 12. I think we play the Vikings well.
Yep.
All the time. And I think we also take away a W there. That team is, they had 4 draft picks this year. One of them passed away, unfortunately. The other one, their top draft pick, J.J. McCarthy, is now out. I don't know what. Jordan Addison is out. I don't know what's going on. I mean, Justin Jefferson's going to have like 2,500 yards, right? Like for anything good to happen there. I think this is also another W on the schedule. Yeah. What do you? Yeah, did you agree?
Yeah, I just don't think. I think Minnesota's going to be so much better than everybody thinks they are. I think they're like with what any other team faced what Minnesota's facing right now. I think they'd predict like, I don't know, like 3 wins all season, 4 wins. I think you'd just be like wrapping up the season, right? Like JJ's out, Addison's are out. Like they still have Justin Jefferson. They still have Aaron Jones too. So I think Aaron Jones is going to do really well in that stadium and that turf and everything. I think Aaron Jones has always just been a pain in my ass too. And then Brian Flores is still doing that defense, man. And that defense looks freaking good, man. So I think they also got Dallas Turner. They did get Dallas Turner. I think that defense is going to be sneaky good. I think they're still going to win like 6 or 7 games. I just don't know if Sam Darnold, I don't even know who their 3rd string quarterback is at this point because I don't know who J.J. McCarthy's backup was. So I think we win, not by a lot. I think it's closer than we think. It's going to be like one of those rock fights, but I think that's a win too. And I'm going to give it to them at home.
Week 13, I think the Lions still have their window open. Ben Johnson's sticking around there. That's, I think, the biggest factor that they're going to have towards them being a successful team this year. I do feel they fall off the face of the earth at some point. I do feel, or at least they come back down to earth, maybe not fall off the face of the earth because they're a talented team. You know what I mean? But I'm just not a big believer in Jared Goff. I know we always talk about those rah-rah mentality coaches and how that's great if you're winning, but if you start out slow and you're losing, that, players only buy into that for so long. And Dan Campbell, I mean, there's being aggressive and there's stubborn and reckless. I feel he errs more on the stubborn and reckless side. But I do think this team is still coasting this year. I think they hand us a loss on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a Thanksgiving game. I was so happy because I was going through this schedule a little bit earlier. And I'm hosting Thanksgiving this year, and I can't fucking wait to just like eat turkey at my own house and just no one talk to me for like 4 hours. I would love to see a win. And for some reason, the Bears, even looking back on it, man, like the last 2 years, the Lions are like 13-win teams every year. The Bears somehow, I think they're 3-1 in the last 2 years against them, if not 4-0.
We play them really well too, even in the losses.
Yeah,
I mean, we had that 28-point comeback last year, and then there was we went 1-1 with them. I think the year before, but in that one loss, I think Fields covered them up for like 100 rushing yards in the first quarter alone.
Yeah, they play them really well. So, but either way, I agree with you though. Thanksgiving at home in Detroit. I think we take this L. We have to. I mean, that's just lined up for Detroit to just have a great Thursday NFL Thanksgiving.
Go ahead with the next 2 then. Start it off with week.
So here you were asking me where I was being a little too optimistic. Here's where my losses come in, man. So this is on the road in Detroit. That's an L. I got San Francisco. We're on the road in December. In San Fran, probably going to be raining and stuff like that. San Fran's hitting its groove. Week 14, they're still fighting for like a 1st or 2nd spot. That's like when San Fran's like the deadliest, man. At the end of the season, they kind of chill out because they're already locked up usually in the last like 5 years. And then they start kind of slow sometimes. San Fran does. Like they'll have like that 140-point shootout game, but then they kind of like have that weird lull. I think this is like San Fran's like regular season. I think Kyle Shanahan's on a fucking mission. I think Brock Purdy might end up being like a top 10 guy this year, even though I don't think he's that good, but I think he's going to just like be a top 10. I think we get the shit kicked out of us again. Right here.
I couldn't agree more. I got this as probably the biggest, most obvious L on the entire schedule. I mean, that's a team that needs to win a Super Bowl in order to make everything worth it. I mean, they're tough, man. They're probably
Is there a hungrier team in the NFL this year?
Think so. They're probably best roster in the NFC. I mean, we beat them. That's going to be saying something, but I just don't see it happening. So, L as well. What do you think week 15?
So yeah, I had us beating Minnesota early on at home. I think you go into Minnesota and you lose here. I think this is like a sneaky little trap game. I think you're like skidding a little bit. You're 0-2 last 2 games and you're like, man, we got to get out of this. This is where like Bears fans kind of start freaking the fuck out. I think this is that like December, New Year's time where we always tend to freak out and then we make it close for the end of the season. So I think this is where you get your third loss in a row. I think also you're like, oh, I think it happens for Matt Eberflus 3 wins this year. I don't think the 3 losses happen back to back early on in the season. It gives you a little bit of hope, but this is that like we're past the point of firing the guy. We're past the point of like making any wholesale changes with this team. You just got to ride out a little skid. There's going to be a skid here somewhere. There's going to be a little bit of a rookie slump. And I think it's right here. It's these 3 games. You're 0-3.
And see, that's the difference, I think, between your prediction and my prediction this year. I don't have them at any point losing 3 in a row. But I get it. Yes. And yes, this is their third loss prediction from you. I think we go in there. And we win this one. I think we're 2-0 against the Vikings this year. Like I said, I think they're the worst team in this division, and I see very little reason why we shouldn't be able to beat them both times. And so, yeah, that's the way I'm going. However, when we get into week 16, I know we played the Lions well. I know, like I said, we went 1-on-1 with them 2 years in a row. I think this year they have our number. And I think week 16, right before Christmas, and then look, it's a short week there too. But I think week 16, the Lions get another win against us, and we are 2-0 against the Vikings, but 0-2 against the Lions this year. What do you think?
Okay. I got the victory here for a few like logical reasons more than anything. It's like right before Christmas. It's December 22nd at that point. The Lions, when you look at their late season stuff, they usually tend to get tired and they really kind of slump off towards the end of the season. Also, Jared Goff in the snow in the middle of December in Chicago with Christmas right around the corner, all that stuff. I think that is a fucking shit pumping of the Lions. I think we beat the shit out of the Lions on this one.
Interesting. Because then I also feel like 4 days later, a short week against Seattle, that I know these would be 2 home losses back to back, but I think Thursday Night Football that we lose to the Seattle Seahawks as well. I think that's going to be a really bad week for the Chicago Bears. I don't know. Like I said, just in order for me to get to my prediction total, this has to be a loss, but I think this might be the one flip game. That like if they win, then it's going to be 1 win better than my prediction. You know what I mean? Because like if there's any real variable here or any real good chance to just kind of pull away a sneaky win, I think you mentioned week 4 we differed. I think this is the other one where there's a good chance here. I just for some reason I don't think it's going to happen. I think we lose to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are way underrated this year. I think they're super solid. And I got the loss here too, but I do have them winning against Detroit. I think they like put their heart and soul into Detroit and they shit pump them. And then there's just like that natural calm down. You're so hyped up for Detroit. I don't think you can put 2 games back to back together like that. However, the Bears have been kind of sneaky with that stuff lately. And then they love those like mini buys and stuff. So, but I do have them losing to Seattle here. Like you said, Christmas Day, I think that is right. Or the day after Christmas, Black Friday.
Day after, yes.
Black Friday game. Cool.
No, Black Friday is Thanksgiving, man. No, that's the day after Christmas.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? Yeah. 12/26.
So, okay. And then, like I said, it's important to me.
You don't have us sweeping the Packers.
I do, damn you. Don't tell me how to predict my insanity.
Oh, God.
I'm getting to my season win total here. And we are going 0-2 against the damn Lions and 2-0 against the Packers. Now, what's more realistic is we go 1-1 with both those teams.
Yeah.
But for me, it's huge. I don't want to be 500 in this damn division. We're 4-2 in the division. We're sweeping the damn Packers. This year, I want it.
All right.
It's
I mean, that's fine.
W. It's W.
I do have them going 500 in the division, mainly because I think 500 would be a great season in the division this year with how good this division is. And I think at this point, the Packers are resting.
Real quick, Agent 9, like, I'm not telling you it's logical or it makes sense.
He's acknowledging his stupidity here.
I know what you're saying. I'm being crazy here. I don't care.
I'll be logical with you. This is where Jordan Love is going to be resting because the Packers have locked up like the second seed by now. And so we're going to go in there trying as hard as we can for a wild card game after a long like mini bye because we're going to play 12-26 and then 1-5. It's like 11 days later. So that's where I think we do beat the Packers in Green Bay, but it's going to be like a big brother head pat, like, oh, that's cute. Like we were resting. We don't really give a shit. This puts us at 14-3, and you guys just sneak into the wild card. But this is where I got it, where it's fucking condescending bullshit. We go in, we're the 1-6 matchup or whatever, and we fucking beat them. We knock them out of the playoffs this year.
You know,
that's where I'll go crazy with you. You want to go full crazy? I'll go full crazy
because
with you.
Like 2 months ago, we had a conversation. I called you on my way home from work. And I think I pitched that scenario. I was like, wouldn't it be good if we just like end of the year, just like last year, or last week against the Packers, playing for that playoff spot. And this time we shut them out. Mm-hmm. And you were just like, yeah. And you're like, but like, I'm not so petty that I want the revenge. I'd rather be 12-4 and not give a fuck about that game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, you take such a higher road than I do. Because I want that damn revenge. You know,
the best of revenge to me would be if like the Packers went like 7-10 this year, missed everything, went fourth in the division, and the Bears were just like the first seed. I would just be like, suck my dick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I guess that would feel better.
But this is my logical brain is they're going to be so fucking good. They're probably going to have like 13 wins by now. They're going to be like, well, San Fran's have locked in the first seed. We can't really drop down out of 2. So let's just rest and then let the Bears have this one. And it'll be like a adorable little like, oh, you tried, you know, Bart Simpson meme shit. And then this will be us like sneaking into the playoffs as like a wild card against the Packers. But
I mean, maybe. So
it won't feel good. It'll happen.
So David, this is exactly why I love doing shows with you, or not even doing shows, just why I love having a conversation with you. Because before we were doing this, we were just having the same exact conversation on the phone regardless. Yeah. We're both at 9 wins.
No way.
We're both at 9 wins.
Yeah.
And like I said, Vegas has his team at 8.5. And we had talked about this scenario, I think a show or two ago, like, is 9 wins still a success? And I think my answer was it's all going to determine on how we get there. Yeah. And like it's really more of an eye test thing. Like, is it 9 wins with Caleb being hurt? You know what I mean? Because like I don't know if I feel great if Caleb's hurt, like, or like, you know, 9 wins and you miss the playoffs, but there's clear steps forward in a lot of areas, or like are these losses, you know, fourth quarter defensive blowouts like we've seen in the past? Like, do these crazy bad scenarios repeat again? And that's how we wind up in this situation. But damn it, me and you both have them at 9 wins this year.
In totally different ways, which is funny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Which either way, I think that kind of gives us the opportunity to say, like, this team is just good enough at this point to be like a 9-win team, which is good. We should feel probably pretty good about that. Like a 9-10 win season. And me being a little bit more critical of a few of those games, like, we probably should sweep Minnesota this week or this season.
Well, that's
a 10-win season right there.
Sweep the Packers, because it's like, if I'm going to be happy about a 9-win season, there's certain things I want to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's one of them, and that's why I kind of had that in there, because for me, there's certain little things that are just important, and you know, it goes more beyond just wins and losses and stats and numbers and this and that. Yeah. I think eye test has a huge role in this year.
I think
And
that's like honestly the biggest part.
yeah.
Eye test, because I'll save my 12-win prediction season thing for like next year when we've had 10 more draft picks added to this team, right? Like when you have 10 draft picks next year, 2 second rounders and a first. I could imagine it, but that would suck.
It would suck. It would be fun though, but it would suck. It'd be fun if we got the upper hand at the end of the day.
Yeah, I couldn't handle like
I wish
Jordan
the
Love
worst
just always.
for that. I don't care.
Yeah, dude.
Being,
I hope like Jordan Love like
down.
gets his shin bashed in with a pipe like fucking carry whatever back in the 90s.
So Brewha, that's what I'm saying. Like in my opinion, if they sneak out that Seattle win, they go 10-7.
Yeah,
so
same
like
with me. If
that's what I was saying. There's a
Vikings,
game in there that maybe we're a little off about, and they could just do one win better. I don't see them winning 11, 12 games though. I don't know.